If you have a physique that looks a bit like this and you are just starting your fitness journey, then you may be wondering what you should do with your diet. Should you bulk or should you cut? A cut is a period of time where you're eating in a calorie deficit in order to lose body fat, and a bulk is a period of time you're eating in a calorie surplus in order to gain size, strength, and overall weight, normally in the form of muscle mass. And so this physique here that you may have something similar to is kind of a skinny fat physique, and a skinny fat physique comes primarily from a lack of muscle mass and also a little bit excess body fat. Someone with this type of physique is usually a touch overweight as well, with most of that weight coming from body fat. But before we get into which you should do, cutting or bulking, the most important thing you should be doing to change a physique like this and build more of a lean athletic physique is doing some form of resistance training. Going to the gym, and whether it be with weights, machines, or body weight, doing some form of resistance training 1 to 3 times per week consistently for a number of months. This is because the most important thing to build this physique is you need to add muscle mass, as this primarily comes from a lack of muscle mass. So no matter if you do choose a cut or a bulk by the end of this video, one thing you have to be doing is going to the gym and resistance training. Knowing that, which should you choose, a cut or a bulk? Well, bulking typically helps you build muscle mass faster as you are in a calorie surplus. So you should notice that your gym performances increase a bit faster and you get stronger across all of your lifts faster than if you were in a deficit. You're eating more calories to fuel your body, and with that fuel, you'll be able to put that energy into better workouts. Better workouts, faster progress in the gym, better recovery with the extra nutrition, leading to more muscle mass built faster. And so if only building extra muscle is your only priority, no matter which physique you have, then a bulk is probably the right option to go for. It does come with a lot of caveats though, which we'll go through. When you're bulking, you should also notice that your recovery is faster and you have a bit more energy, not just in the gym, but throughout daily life. This is obviously presuming that your bulk isn't a dirty bulk and you're not just filling yourself up with foods that are low in nutritional content. This is presuming that your bulk is still going to be mostly from whole, good nutritional food sources that are going to give you energy and fuel your body. And you're not just eating 3 packets of bourbons every day to get into your calorie surplus like someone might have done at university. Bulking is also mentally easier than cutting, as you give yourself more leniency when it comes to your diet. You don't have to be so strict about the things you're eating, although you still want to be eating good whole foods, as I just mentioned. You don't have to be so precise about it. Your surplus could go over by a few hundred calories, maybe even 1,000 calories or so. It doesn't have that much difference when your main intention is only to gain size and strength. I know from anecdotal experience, anytime I'm in a bulk, I'm generally just feeling happier and more motivated because I know I can eat a lot of food, and an extra pint of beer here and there isn't going to kill me and may actually just help to add on some extra pounds. That's terrible advice, by the way. Don't be drinking your way into a bulk. Now, some of the downsides to bulking, and there is one main downside, and that is that you are going to be adding extra body fat as well as muscle mass when you are bulking, when you're in a calorie surplus, particularly when you're starting off with a skinny fat physique. Now, this is really important to note because it depends at what stage you're already at before you start bulking. And if you're skinny fat, then you're already holding on to excess body fat. And so going into a bulk straight away with this physique, you're not doing anything about the fact that you want to get rid of your body fat. You're doing everything to promote muscle growth, but not so much to reduce body fat. And so you may finish your bulking period with still a lot of excess body fat and potentially even more body fat than you had to begin with. And a downside that comes with that downside is you'll be building muscle and gaining strength in the gym. But if you're also gaining a little bit more body fat, it's actually going to be difficult to see any of your muscle mass because it's hidden under more and more body fat, right? So you may look in the mirror and think, I'm working so hard, my lifts are going like this in the gym, but I can't see any muscle mass. And it's because it's still hidden under all of that body fat. So although you know you are building muscle and gaining in strength and size, until you get rid of that excess body fat, it's going to make it really difficult to see a physical aesthetic difference to your physique. And when you look in the mirror, this can become quite demotivating. It can also make your concurrent cutting phase a lot harder and longer because you have more time to get rid of more of that excess body fat that you gained during the bulk. All right, so let's talk about going on a cut instead. As you probably know by now, the main benefit of cutting will be that you can lose body fat whilst building muscle mass. Remember, we're presuming that you are still going to the gym and resistance training 1 to 3 times per week to build muscle. Now, if you choose to go on a cut whilst you do this, you can simultaneously lose body fat and build muscle mass. And a lot of beginners or someone with a skinny fat physique get this a bit confused because they think, well, if I want to build muscle, I can't be in a calorie deficit because if you're in a calorie deficit, you can't build muscle, right? And that's actually not true. It depends at what stage you're at. And if you're a beginner, someone with a skinny fat physique type is going to respond really, really well to resistance training because their body is not used to it and it's something they haven't done before. So you can go in the gym in a calorie deficit and resistance train couple times a week and you will still build a substantial amount of muscle as long as you remain consistent for a number of months. And so when you choose a cutting phase instead of a bulking phase, you're going to be losing body fat as you remain in your calorie deficit and building muscle mass as you remain consistent with the gym. Quite obviously, you'll look a lot leaner and more defined faster when you're cutting compared to bulking. And actually, when you lose body fat and start to build a little bit of muscle mass, it may look like you have more muscle on a smaller physique than if you bulked on a bigger one, because you don't have that excess body fat. So you can see the definition and you will get lean and build that athletic looking physique a lot faster. So being leaner straight away will actually give the appearance of having more muscle. Another hidden benefit of going on a cut straight away, especially as a beginner, is it's going to help you build better long-term habits when it comes to your nutrition. As being in a calorie deficit is a little bit more laborious, you have to be very kind of specific about the foods you're eating to remain under your maintenance calories. You have to be quite strict with your diet, be restrictive with kind of your emotions and your emotional eating as well, and any bad habits that you have. And so when you go straight into a deficit as a beginner, you're going to be teaching yourself all these good habits that later down the line, you'll be really happy you learn. Another great benefit of going on a cut straight away is if you decide to do a bulk afterwards, you would have already lost that body fat. So any fat you gain from a bulk straight after your cut, you will only be gaining minimal amounts of body fat. And so it won't pile up as it would have done before. And the final positive of cutting, this is in my opinion to be fair, but from people I've spoken to and guys with this physique, the physique that a skinny fat guy wants, the end goal, in my opinion, does not require a bulk. It just requires building muscle mass, not tons of muscle mass, just requires muscle mass and a loss of body fat. A skinny fat guy just wants some maybe ab definition, be able to see their biceps and triceps and have some kind of muscle separation in their chest. And you don't need to bulk to get to that stage. You can just do a cut, build some muscle mass, and you'll get there faster. So let's talk about some negatives of remaining in a calorie deficit or cutting for a long period of time. Firstly, it is going to be a little bit harder to build muscle mass. It will require more discipline when it comes to tracking food, maybe being a little bit hungry before going to bed. That can happen sometimes. It doesn't have to if you're smart about your food timing and your food choices, but it will require more discipline than going straight into a bulk. And finally, if you go super aggressive on your cut and just try and get rid of as much body fat as fast as you possibly can, then this will have an impact on your muscle building progress quite significantly. And this is why I recommend going in a cut of around 200 to 500 max calories under your maintenance. So after giving you the pros and cons, I'm going to give you my personal opinion. And if you couldn't tell by how this video has gone so far, I'm going to recommend for most skinny fat guys that you go straight into a cutting phase. You'll get leaner faster, you can still build muscle as you're going to respond really well to resistance training because of the stage you're at. It teaches you great habits, you're going to learn more about food and tracking and calories and macros, and ultimately it's going to give you the physique that I think a lot of skinny fat guys want to begin with, that lean athletic look, faster than if you were to bulk and cut afterwards. But I'd love to hear your guys' opinion, so let me know in the comments below if you've had much experience with cutting and bulking, or if you're about to choose a phase to go into. I'd love to know which one you choose and why. So thanks for watching, leave a like on this video and a subscribe would be fantastic, and I'll see you in the next one.